In this explainer video, I will help you understand the key issues that led to the rapid fall of Kabul. This has perplexed many analysts and many pundits, but if you had read the writings on the wall, if you had been following events closely over the last year or two, especially in the last few months, this seemed almost inevitable. More so that the Taliban would sooner than later emerge as the rulers of Afghanistan once again. Because the Taliban was smart enough to know, along with some of their Pakistani patrons who, dressed as the Taliban, would attend all meetings and conferences that they would go to and gauge the signs of America's desperation to get out of Afghanistan. All sorts of concessions were given to them, and the various arrangements that America was to put into place seemed to the Taliban that the US had decided that sooner the better they would go away from Afghanistan, and whatever the consequences that would follow, America really wouldn't be interested. Why did America go into Taliban's territory in the first place? They went in as a knee-jerk reaction to the 9/11 attacks that shook America and the world. And the American government of President George Bush was under pressure to come up with a quick response to show that America's military power would guarantee it the opportunities to take revenge, whatever the losses of human lives in America notwithstanding. So the US was familiar with the events in what came to be known as the AfPak region, and also how the Taliban was created, because when the Russians were in Afghanistan and the Russian Empire began to pull back from Afghanistan, like so many other empires which saw their demise in the graveyards of Afghanistan, the Russians began to pull back in 78-79. And it was around that time that the Taliban and their predecessors, the Mujahideen, faced the first round of success. Many of them had fought against the Russians under one organizational umbrella or the other. But when the Russians were moving out, the Americans had a strong role to play in pushing the Russians out of Afghanistan with Pakistan's help. That is the time when America began to fund Pakistan's operations against Russia, wanting to stop the expansion of the Russian Empire into the lands of Pakistan, as General Zia projected to the Americans, the Saudis, and many others. Because apparently the Russians were looking for access to a warm water port, and Zia expected that after Afghanistan, the Russian army would roll into Baluchistan. Therefore, with a combination of America's CIA, Pakistan's inter-service intelligence, and the Saudi intelligence agencies, they created this counter to Russian influence in the form of a tribal force, but it had the trappings of a military organization. So when America was to choose an enemy after 9/11, it decided that the answer lay with hitting the Taliban, which by then had become the holding point or the umbrella force that gave cover to the Al-Qaeda. The Al-Qaeda had found a sanctuary, hounded out as it was from the Middle East where it was founded. It found a sanctuary in Afghanistan. In fact, Osama bin Laden learned to fire a Kalashnikov rifle in the fields of Afghanistan. And that was the bonding between him and his Taliban patrons that led to the Taliban swear that they would protect the Al-Qaeda, who were their friends and their guests. And the Taliban, which comes from the Pakhtun areas of Afghanistan and Pakistan, which lie both sides of the Durand line, the Taliban chose to provide protection to Al-Qaeda at whatever the cost. America, therefore, came in hammer and tongs to go after Al-Qaeda primarily, which they called the war on terror, notwithstanding the terror that America's friend and ally in that war on terror, Pakistan, was unleashing in India. That didn't matter to America. All it mattered was their agenda, as it has mattered now when they pulled out of Afghanistan in the most disgraceful withdrawal in modern memory. However, when they went in there, President Musharraf was the self-appointed leader of Pakistan, and Musharraf between 96 and 2001 had provided more military men for the Taliban-led operations in northern Afghanistan than the Taliban itself could provide. So the linkage between Pakistan's inter-services intelligence, its armed forces, army in particular, and the Taliban became closer. The Taliban having been created from the madrasas in the Pakhtun areas by people like General Hamid Gul, who was the DG ISI. However, Taliban took control of Afghanistan before 9/11 happened. They, in a systematic manner, rolled through most of Afghanistan's districts, took over Kabul, unleashed the reign of terror, anti-education, anti-women's freedom, anti-social and entertainment activities, anti any kind of public show of emotion, and insisted that everyone should follow their harsh Islamic Sharia codes, which even in almost all Islamic countries are not followed. Anyway, they were there, the world was unhappy with them, but very little was done to remove them. Only 4 countries recognized the Taliban regime, which had been in Kabul between 96 and 2001. There were Pakistan, of course, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and one more, and that was Turkmenistan. That apart, nobody cared to recognize them, but they went on with their business as usual. Then came the American invasion of Afghanistan. They stayed for 20 years, achieved little, and having spent over $1 trillion, having killed or maimed close to 500,000 people, themselves losing thousands of soldiers, America had nothing to show on its report card. That is why President Biden took a decision that it was time for America to pull out. It was not entirely his decision, actually. His predecessor, President Trump, had initiated the pullout process. Biden just speeded it up by giving it a deadline that we would pull out before 9/11 on 2021. And so they chose to make a hasty withdrawal in the hours of darkness from Bagram airfield, where close to 60,000 US troops were deployed, and leaving behind millions of articles, which were household articles, personal effects, and weapons and ammunition. And clearly, this was picked up by the Afghans and eventually went into the hands of the Taliban. The US thought it had created a sufficient counter to the takeover of Afghanistan, but this is again regarded as probably the greatest intelligence failure of modern times, because the American intelligence agencies had no idea that while they were arming and training the Afghan National Army, the Afghan National Army was also engaging on the quiet with other Afghans who had links with the Taliban. So when the Taliban came to most of the cities in Afghanistan, they fell like nine pins. In a period of 10 days between 6th of August and 15th of August, almost all the major cities in Afghanistan fell. And it took everybody by surprise, most of all the United States, which had assumed that it would carry out all sorts of over-the-horizon operations, bomb the Taliban through air. Clearly, they didn't want any of their soldiers to die anymore. But interestingly, from 2016 onwards, American soldiers on the ground hardly ever engaged in combat on the land against insurgents, terrorists, or Taliban, call them what you may. But the Al-Qaeda who they were after had disappeared long ago into the Tora Bora mountains or into Pakistan, which is not just the home of the Taliban, but also the Al-Qaeda, as we know, that Osama bin Laden was found in Pakistan. But America always wanted to stay clear of upsetting Pakistan. And Pakistan, the master of the double game, not only fleeced America of $33 billion in the so-called fight against terror, but also did not give America what it wanted and only gave bits and pieces of information, and that too for a price. So Pakistan had planned and orchestrated the takeover of Afghanistan because in the 1990s, after General Zia's death, the Pakistan Army Chief, General Mirza Aslam Beg, had articulated his philosophy of how Pakistan could be safe. And one of the things was that he wanted a safe backyard for Pakistan, which means an Afghanistan under their control. Therefore, Pakistan's obsession to control Afghanistan goes back to 30 years. And Pakistan has done everything possible and now is smiling through the success of this operation, which many in Pakistan call a victory for Islamic Jihad, just like it pumped up their egos after the Russians withdrew from Afghanistan. But clearly, the Taliban are not done yet. Can you trust them? It's a big question. Will they bite the hand that fed them? It could be possible because, as it has been said, that the Taliban is made up of Pakhtuns, and the Pakhtuns are a tribal lot, and historically they have objected to too much of control over their views, their life, and their plans. So, the possibility of them being pushed into the corner with too much of rules, regulation, taxation, and ways that will interfere with their tradition and their customs could get them to respond negatively and could create a situation of a civil war in Afghanistan, which as yet is waiting and watching what the outcome of the Taliban takeover will be. As far as India is concerned, India has to wait and watch the space. India has made big financial investments, tangible ones, parliament building, dam, highway, school, hospital. But to go in any deeper, to try and control your assets is to sink in the quicksand of Afghanistan. And that India would be better advised not to do. The international community would probably still engage with the Taliban if the Taliban doesn't resort to their barbaric medieval culture as they did between 1996 and 2001. As far as Russia is concerned, it has already been engaging with them well before the takeover of Kabul. They organizes peace conferences in Moscow and elsewhere, called international representations, and got them to engage with the Taliban, gave them respectability. America gave the Taliban legitimacy by dealing with them in the peace talks in Doha, which was put together by the American envoy to Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, and he was basically given a clear term of reference. Get it sorted out as soon as possible or you lose your job. So whatever the concessions, give it to them. but get the American troops out of there. But it's sad that America went in to fight the wrong enemy in the wrong country, and at the end of the day, many soldiers in America are now questioning, is that what we fought for? Is that what we gave our limb and our life for? Because at the end of the day, it has become an event that will be very difficult for Mr. Biden and his administration to outlive, and it creates large questions about America's role in future in Asia, because China, which is Pakistan's patron, is funding Pakistan to take control of Afghanistan through the Taliban, because Afghanistan is really not just the ground that Pakistan's been juicing for opium, dry fruits and what have you, but it has a lot of mineral treasure. And that mineral treasure is what China and Russia want, and America wanted, but I don't think America is going to get a shot at it now. As far as Pakistan's concerned, it is doing exactly for China what it did for the US. For India, if people are asking this question, that what role should India play, India should for the moment just wait and watch. In the long run, focus only on doing good for those Afghans who've come to take shelter in India, and if possible, become part of an international coalition which could initiate programs and processes for the betterment of the people of Afghanistan. But that, I think, is a long shot. Anything in between would really be what Pakistan, China, Russia and Iran will choose to do in Afghanistan, and of course the Taliban permitting.